Hello. Hello. Where is my... Oh no. Hold on. There we go, now we're ready. Everything was not where it was supposed to be. Hello. We'll just continue working on this then. Yep, yep. We'll just have fun coloring. I'm a little sleepy today. Only a little sleepy. We're a little sleepy today. I stayed up a little too late yapping. Yapping too much about Victorian phones. I just think they're pretty. I forgot to do the design. It's pretty legs. I want it to look as pretty as possible because I've drawn this ortho before. And I always want him to look pretty. Prettier than the first time. I'm still sad that I couldn't get his card during the rerun. Big sad. There was a bit where for the 5th anniversary they were doing some card reruns, and Ortho was part of that too, and I still didn't get him then either. It was sad, man. Every time this card comes for a rerun, apparently, I can't get him. My boy. It's too pretty. Although this year, I mean, I have a few Azul cards anyway. I don't really need him. So I'm saving the 10 keys from Azul for later characters. very point where these intersect is what's getting right. Hello, Marcus. Thank you. Imby Doodle is next doodle, especially when it's for our silly little robot Pinocchio. How you doing, Marcus? I'm sleepy. I'm just yapping about how I still didn't get Ortho's card during his rerun. And I didn't get it during the anniversary reruns for a bunch of different other cards. Big sad. The card is just too pretty. I need it. I do pretty well, thanks. What's Ortho's gonna be? What Ortho's gonna be this time? It's still the fairy one that I was drawing last time. I forgot to add the little like, ribbon thing on those glass shins. I call them glass shins because that's kind of what they look like. I stayed up too late last night yapping with some friends. I had a whole entire conversation about people buying Victorian homes and then just making them the ugliest thing you've ever seen in your life. I'm just like, man, I hate that. Stop buying old homes if you hate the old architecture. Why are you trying to make them so modern? It's painful. They don't make real wood stuff anymore. Why are you doing this? I blame HGTV for this. Leave the Victorian homes alone. If you're not gonna clean them up, don't buy them. Buying old houses and making them modern slop defeats the purpose, don't you think? Exactly. It just does. It's not like you're restoring it or like it was beyond saving, because that's a different story. If it was like rotting from the inside out, you might as well just tear down the whole thing, you know? But it's usually not. There's like salvageable stuff in there, and it's like they just destroy everything, and I'm like, why would you do that? I also don't like, in general, I just don't like plain white rooms. Oh, but the natural light, yeah, but it's boring. You can still have natural light while also having colors in your room, you know. It's funny because I've had conversations like this with my sister too. She's like the opposite of me. Like, I like colorful rooms filled with things. And she's just like, nah, I just need a bed. The complete opposite ends of the spectrum. I need colorful whimsy. cozy in my life. My sister's just like, I just need a bed. I don't like cleaning. It's like, yeah, but like, it's so empty. Enjoy some color. You're just like, no. Yeah, when you put it like that, I guess. Sort of. Not really. She doesn't like fancy things, though. That's the thing. Like, Leona, he's lazy, but he still likes the high-class treatment. Along with the fact that she still has to clean things because there's nobody to clean it up for her. But ironically, she do sleep a lot. I mean, I do too. I do be sleeping. It's just I combat it by always trying to wake up early anyway. The beauty of Victorian homes and all older vintage homes is that, like old cars, they were built to last. Pretty much. They were built with quality in mind. Not break down in like a year and then you're like, what's going on? Your subscription to Tesla has been expired. We will now be taking your car, peasant. Sometimes I'd be agreeing with some of the boomer opinions out there, you know? Like, there are just some things, you know, some things that don't need to have this weird modernization applied to it. It's all so tiresome. When I was a kid, I used to see this pretty house. This pretty Victorian-looking house back in the day. It wasn't actually a house, I think it was like an apartment complex thing, but it still looked like an old Victorian house, and I always thought it was very pretty. I'm like, wow, I want a house like that. That's pretty. Had like a tower too. Oh wait, this was supposed to be... Whoopsies. Just because it's more efficient doesn't mean it's worth having. Yeah. I don't need things just to be convenient. I want things that look pretty. And can be convenient. That takes a lot more skill. is gonna take this. Yeah. It also kind of confuses me because, like, I'm assuming these people buy these houses for pretty cheap. Despite the fact that they're, like, you know, Victorian and whatever, but, like, if you're already getting it for a low price, why are you spending more money to renovate it when you could restore it? That's the thing that confuses me. Because it's like, if you're already getting it for a very, like, lower than it should be price because it's so old and borderline abandoned sometimes, like, wouldn't it be worth it to restore what's salvageable? But then again, people who buy a bunch of houses just to sell them later, they're kind of eh. They're kind of eh. I feel like not everything needs to be modernized. I don't really like a open layout house either. Open layouts are kind of, they feel very empty sometimes. But those are usually newer homes nowadays anyway, because that's what's in. I was like, I kind of like the rooms being separated a little bit. It's like a nice little bit of soundproofing, but you can still hear just enough, you know? Just enough. And speaking of old things, I went to a museum last year. It was pretty. I liked it. I like seeing all that old stuff from like the 1920s. And it is funny how people say sometimes, like, oh, well, we don't make stuff like this because it's expensive. It's expensive to have all these, like, fancy metal decorations or whatever, but, like, I've been to an iron mill. They just use molds. Sure, it probably takes long, but at this point, you can, like, make a bunch of molds with some fancy pattern. And it's like, you can just pump those out, man. Like, there's no need. That's why it's called cast iron or whatever. You're putting a cast or whatever. But that was like an old-fashioned iron mill. You cast stuff nowadays, and it's like on an industrial scale, so it's like, you're just lying. We're still capable of making very pretty things, it's just people don't want to do it. And like, a lot of art in general can be made with like the bare minimum of like things, you know? don't need all the fanciest equipment in the world to make something pretty. You don't even need that much professional skill. You just need enough to understand. You need to understand the basics. That's also the thing that bugs me with the AI stuff too, because like, you still need to know basic design, composition stuff, and how actual physics work. To be fair, industrialism has existed for centuries, it's just that nowadays people have gotten sloppy about it and the processes haven't, for the most part, been life-threatening. Yeah. That is true. I'd just be yapping though, because I like pretty things. I like encouraging artistic creativity. And that you don't need all the fancy stuff, you just need to understand how stuff works. You don't even need to go to fancy colleges for it half the time. You can just look up tutorials and buy or rent out books about how to draw and stuff like that from the library or whatever. It's not as complicated or impossible to achieve as some people think. It's like, yeah, sure, trying to get into like the industry or whatever, that's the part that's more difficult because it's so gatekeepy and nepotistic and whatever. But in general, nothing's stopping you from making whatever you want. Just don't expect everybody in the world to, like, think you're making the greatest thing ever if it isn't actually, you know, that high quality. Because people are willing to give things a chance. If your attempt is very sincere and filled with passion for what you're doing, you'll make something great eventually. It takes time. I guess that's me talking to myself. Just be patient. every time I try to draw the legs for this, I always do something different. I always have like a different plan for it. How do I get it to be shiny? And like see-through enough. Because these legs are kind of see-through. Oh yeah, and I do need to remember to finish rigging for the new outfit. I'm gonna do that next Tuesday. Hopefully, if I don't get it Tuesday, if I don't finish it, it'll be a Thursday event. For the newest model outfit. I just have to re-rig small pieces. Because the knife I drew is for the right hand on the model. But I put the holster thing on that same side, and I'm just like, wait a minute, that's not gonna work, right? That's not gonna work right if it's like, you know, if you're pulling out something from a holster, it has to be like on the opposite side. So that way your dominant hand can like reach it comfortably. I don't know. I mean, it depends, I guess. Like, I could just leave it there. But, like, it's not like a tiny one. It was like it's a pretty big one. I don't know. It could be nothing thing. It could also just be I'm thinking way too hard and my brain got fried. Like, maybe I don't need to flip it. I don't know. Although I do want to make a few changes to the outfit after the VK one, the pajama one. I want to work on what that one's color scheme should actually be. That one's probably going to have the most design changes, sort of. It's still going to be like the same general stuff. It's just, I didn't like the colors that I picked. Or the design for like the shorts. I was like, what am I thinking with these colors? I need to think. I need to change this. It needs to be refined. And you know, it happens. Sometimes you make something and then you're just like, I like where this is going, but it could be better. This is a draft at this point. It needs touch-ups. Oh wow, I missed a chunk. It's funny. Same thing with the hair. I always do something different with it too. But that's what makes it kind of fun. I think there is an English version of the Twisted Wonderland art book. If I ever find it, I want to get it. It also confirms this little funny story that Yana said about the anniversary cards when they were first rolling out. That somebody at Disney told her to change the background from balloons because balloons are bad for the environment or something. Which is funny because it's like the anniversary events, the first four anniversary events still had a bunch of balloons as part of like the decorations. But yet for the cards, for like the uncapped image of the cards, it's like, oh, change that. It's like, that's weird reasoning. And it's like, it didn't go through with everything else for this event either. It's just for the cards. There was balloons all over the mini games, the home screen, the uncapped image of the Grimm cards. It was so funny. Like, I don't get it. Why would you ruin the theme? And it was somebody at Disney or something. I don't know if it was like Disney US or like Disney JP, but somebody from Disney was like, yeah, change that, and it's like, okay. I don't know why. That's weird because it didn't affect everything else in the event. If the balloons were the issue, why was it only changed for the cards? And not even the full thing. It's just for the image with Grimm in the first years or the other characters or whatever, depending on which year it was. I just find that so funny. Because the art book shows the original first draft. Like, it was using it as an example for the coloring process. And like the original rough draft or whatever. The rough draft had all these balloons in the background. Which I thought would have been so much nicer, honestly. Like, if the actual cards had the balloons, I feel like you could change the colors to match that year's color theme. Like, it would have been so much cuter, honestly. Nothing against the bubbles. Bubbles are fun, but it's like they're not as colorful. Well, I am curious if the art book shows how Ida's hair is colored. I want to know. I want to know the actual process for it, because I always do something different every time, drawing Ida or Ortho. I want to know the real process. Well, that's base covered. Now the complicated part. Wings. The wings have always been the hardest part for coloring, because I still haven't figured out the best way to draw something iridescent. Every time I've drawn this part, I've always done something different with it. Sometimes it's like, yeah, you might as well look up tutorials for how to do that, but also at the same time, sometimes it's like, but that doesn't fit how I draw. Like the situation. That's why you look at multiple different types of tutorials. To try and figure out what methods work best for what you want. At least for me. Like, I'm currently trying to figure out how to make rigs from scratch in Blender. And there's like so many different ways to do it, honestly. And at that point, it's more about trying to figure out, okay, so that's how you do it. Here's multiple different ways you can do it. Which one looks best for me? You know? Like, which one's gonna be easier for me to understand? Cause like, I got that ortho model rigged. I just need to build the controls for that now, and that's the part that's gonna take me forever to figure out, because I'm trying to... Because, like, most of the tutorials I found so far are just the basics of, like, rigging, but they don't go into making the controllers. Or at least the types of controllers I'm looking for. I'm not at that point yet. Like, I did briefly learn how to make rigs in Maya once. But that was a long time ago, and I never touched that skill again until recently. That's Maya, that's a different program. Things are laid out differently over there. I'm gonna have to mess with the filters for the wings later. That's gonna be interesting, because I want to see what filters I can put on there to get the look out of it. Because it has like that iridescent look to it. It's like pretty see-through. but not super see-through. You can still see through it, but it's gonna have like a little bit of a color change. So I think once I finish these wings, it'll be the end of the day. Yeah. Like I need to see this outline. The gold outline over the wings. I need to see this all start coming together. I think I might just finish this one. I might need a nap. I'm kind of tired. Although, actually, I don't know if I'll be able to stream next week or even tomorrow. I love it when things start to come together. Look at that. Now, that looks nice. I like that. Yeah. We're almost there. Yay! We're almost there. I might be able to finish that tomorrow. We'll finish that tomorrow. Have a nice rest of your day. Thanks for dropping by. It's always appreciated. See you tomorrow. And we'll finish our pretty fairy Ortho. The adorable Ortho will be completed tomorrow. I think. Honestly, it depends, but like, if things come up, I will say something beforehand. Things are uncertain again, so. But that's the plan.